Welcome to Flip TV Morning News. I am Ayla Omolara. News headlines. Bank gets 3-month deadline to stop forest-backed loan. FG tackles mounted electricity debt hike tariff for Band A. Now the news in details. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday stepped up its fight to boost foreign exchange liquidity in the economy with a new circular mandating deposit money banks to stop the use of its foreign currencies as collateral for naira loans within 90 days. The development happened as the naira rose against the greenback at both the official and parallel market on Monday. The CBN has continued to deepen its battle to free dollar liquidity stocked up in the financial system by deploying various measures aimed at shoring up the naira against the United States dollar. On Monday, the Olayemi Cardoso-led CBN issued a new circular expressing concern over the use of foreign currencies as collateral for naira loan. Although this is not the first time the bank has prohibited the use of FCY, it said it has observed the use of foreign currencies by bank customers as collateral for naira loans, hence the decision to prohibit its use. In 2023, in a confidential letter to commercial lenders, the Apex Bank issued a stern directive against naira overdraft backed by foreign currency deposits. Despite this warning, the new directive indicates that banks have continued to engage in such practices. In the latest circular signed by the Acting Director of Bank Supervision Department at Dayton Adedeji, the Apex Bank said it observed the use of foreign currencies by bank customers and collateral for naira loans. Consequently, the current practice of using foreign currency denominated collateral for naira loans is hereby prohibited except where the foreign currency collateral is euro bond issued by the federal government of Nigeria or guarantees a foreign bank, including standby letter of credit. In this regard, all loans currently secured with dollar denominated collaterals other than, as mentioned above, should be wound down within 90 days, failing while such exposures shall be risk-weighted 150% for capital adequacy ratio computation in addition to other regulatory sanctions. Also, despite the hues and cries of Nigerians who were still battling with the aftermath of the petrol subsidy removal, the federal government last week removed the subsidy on electricity being consumed by consumers on Band A feeder in a bid to tackle its mounting debt in the sector, writes Diary allowing. A few months after he assumed office as the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu made known his intention to remove the subsidy on electricity, saying the federal government could no longer shoulder the responsibility. As gathered, the federal government was set to remove the subsidy in January, but President Bola Tinubu was said to have delayed the process. As had happened with the petrol subsidy, the government and major player in the power sector agreed that customers be allowed to pay for the electricity they consume. While those in the government clamored for an end to the electricity subsidy regime because, according to them, it was no longer sustainable, investors on the supply chain want a fully deregulated power sector, saying lack of liquidity was killing the industry. Initially, Tinubu has refused to grant the request, despite the pressure being mounted on him. The president was aware that Nigerian economy ran into a problem after he removed the fuel subsidy upon assumption of office. This, coupled with his policy to float the naira, has made feeding difficult for many Nigerians as prices of commodities continue to skyrocket. A correspondent learned that the stakeholders had succeeded in convincing Adelabu that the only way to have an efficient power sector was to allow liquidity through cost-reflective tariff, which could only be achieved if the government refused a subsidy and allowed customers to pay for their consumption. Adelabu had on many occasions stressed that the government could no longer sustain the payment of the subsidy on electricity. In January, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission released its 2024 electricity tariff, which showed that the federal government was to shoulder about 1.6 ton subsidy for the year to avert a hike in tariff. Instead of customers paying 100 22 naira per kilowatt in some areas. The NAC allowed the distribution company to charge 56 naira per kilowatt, leaving the remaining for the government to bear as a subsidy. Adelabu said this was very difficult to sustain because the country's power debt has continued to soar. The minister stated that the 450 billion naira was appropriated for electricity subsidy in 2024 budget, but finding by the NEC showed that the subsidy would go up about 2.9 trillion naira this year. He revealed that the country was currently indebted to the tune of 1.3 trillion naira to electricity generating companies, while the debt to gas company was $1.3 billion. Stay with us for more news update. I am Anila Omolara.